Hello everyone, today I'll be doing a solo flawless run with Hunter. For my subclass for the mini room 1, 2, and 3, I'll be using Golden Gun. Here are the fragments I'll be using. For the mini areas, I am using a sniper with kinetic tremors. Next I'll be using the Indebted Kindness. And we'll be switching to a Galive to clear down the remaining ads when getting to the puzzle. For my heavy, I'll be using a machine gun fixed odds. And of course, here are the mods I'll be using. One thing I like to note is make sure you switch your double solar reserves to double arc resilience and then concussive dampener. This is just the jumping puzzle loadout-ish. Mainly, you just want to have 100 mobility, stompies, and a stasis sword with Eaqer's edge. For the boss fight loadout, I'll be using Blade Barrage. So for my kinetic, I'm using Mountaintop, I'm using the Indebted Kindness sidearm, and Dragon's Breath. And here are the mods and fragments I'll be using in this video. I'm also going to switch to Polaris Lance when the Brig is going psychopathic mode. I am going to be switching to Monarque to clear all the remaining ads at the boss fight. I decided to go for the Hunter Solar subclass for the jumping puzzle. It is up to you whether you want to go for a strand, a void, anything you want, just to get the jumping puzzle done so I can get to the boss fight efficiently. So I am using a machine gun and I am just clearing down all the ads. Now I do like to let these invisible fallens to push so I can immediately take it down. One thing I will say is definitely use your knife at them so it'll be much more faster to take them down. So now we're just gonna make our way to area 2 or mini room 2 for a nickname. There are going to be a couple of snipers, shanks, and arc shanks, and a brig. I don't remember a brig from the original version, but we are using a sniper to take down these sniper shanks because they are a pain to use a machine gun on console when shooting from far distance. For me, it didn't work out. By the way, I know everyone's different. For me, it just wasn't working. So I am going to throw a healing nade on myself, right? And then just spam the bungee out of this machine gun as much as I can. When you do have your super, then use your golden gun. Highly recommend to use a golden gun, or you could go for an arc subclass as well. It's up to you of what you prefer. Then once I did use the golden gun at the brig, I switched to the sniper and then switch to my fixed odds. Did a couple of slides, reload, check if the shank is bungeed, and then we just make our way to the next area. Area 3 or mini room 3. The next area was a bit tricky. I did take my time dealing with the snipers, and there were times where I was trying to get my precision shots, but the game just doesn't like me. I mean, look at that. Did you guys see that? I had my precision shots accurate, but for some reason the game decided to not let me get my precision shots. Maybe it was Madria from Naruto Shippuden, and when I was shooting the sniper, the bullet went through the body. So I'm going to clear the ads, these servitors, with the machine gun. I will throw a knife at the servitor, and sometimes these fallen ads do push. And if they do push, you just spam machine gun. And then take down the walker. Now the walker, as you can see over here, Try to use sniper. If you don't have any snipers, then use your machine gun. Then use your golden gun to do the precision shot when it's on the weakened point. Then you can use your sidearm kindness. And then just take down these servitors. That sniper above was not there before, but for some reason there's a lot of teleportation issues where they just teleport everywhere. So now we're going to clear down the fallen captain and the remaining ads. There is a shank from the left side, so be aware. And if you do have sniper, then definitely use it, or you can use your sidearm. I did have enough machine gun, so I decided to just use my machine gun, and then later on I will switch to a glaive so I can just spam glaive to make it much more faster. Since we are around, I would say, 16 minutes. Now it is everyone's opinion, you don't have to use a glaive. You can one-shot the fallen ads. And then for the invisible ones, it takes about 2 shots. Or maybe if I put minor spec, it will be 1 shot. But not really. I haven't really fully tested out. So I usually just do 1 shot and then a melee. If they don't get taken down. Because sometimes when I did try to 1-shot it, it doesn't work. Where I have to use the melee. So melee, you can 1-shot them as well. Just to let everyone know. If anyone's curious. For me, this is just way more faster to deal with the fallen ads when using the glaive, because the sidearm was just a struggle, or a submachine gun for me, by the way. And it just saves a lot of time for me. And now we're at the jumping puzzle. And yes, I am not using the strand, by the way. I'm using Stompy, so highly recommend. Use Stompies for this run. Now, I know I might 3 years ago video, I did not use Stompies. Alright, I will say, I know someone's going to comment and say, Blitz, you didn't use Stompy in your other video, your old video. Yes, that is true. But for the new version, highly recommend, use Stompies. So we're going to go to a mini shortcut. We're going to skip up getting these switches. We're going to use the power of the Stompies. You can also use a sword to gain more momentum, to use Eaqer's edge. And then we're just going to make our way to the little tunnel. Make sure you jump so you can gain more momentum. And yes, you can use your strand subclass. But unfortunately for me, I'm just going to take my time of jumping all these mini platforms. Now, on the old version, I don't remember these fallens were even there. But for the new version, they decided to add more fallen ads. I'm seeing the pattern for GMs and for other activities. I'm seeing the pattern there. To make it harder, let's add more enemies. Alright, so now we're going to go to the next jumping puzzle. Now, I do recommend for the 3rd pipe to go on top of the pipes. But because I didn't gain momentum, I didn't sprint, I just decided to go to the other mini platform. So make sure you jump on this mini shortcut and then make your way to the other side. I was a bit too late for there, so I am going to wait until the platforms appear. And once I do that, we're going to make our way to the next area. Now, one thing I will say is you don't have to turn invisible or anything, because there will be a shank that will explode on you. The good news is it won't one-shot you. So this is not a requirement, if anyone's wondering. So now we're going to go to the next area. Now, this area always, for some reason, I always get bad luck in this area. For the Stompy, sometimes you can bounce off these pipes. So make sure you hug the wall from the left and hug the wall from the right so you won't bounce off and then just go to the death pit. It always happens to me in my experience when using Stompies, but I'm sure for other players it hasn't happened. Now I do recommend to take down the Shank. I was just trying to turn invisible so I can save 2 seconds of my life, but sometimes his Shank will move to the middle where he can push you off to the fan of death. Now one thing you can also do is just sprint and jump forward, but it didn't work out for me because for some reason I just bounced off and then I got killed by the fans. Now for this area you can use the Strand subclass, but for me we're just gonna go for the old days, alright? Back in 3 years ago there was no such thing as Strand subclass. Okay, maybe sword skating on PC and stuff. So now we're gonna go meet Trevor. He loves hugs. And when I say hugs, a lot of hugs. This is gonna be your best friend. You can also be Trevor, but I highly recommend not to do that because he really loves hugs. I mean, look at him. He's just going at it. He's looking for anyone to hug him. So we are gonna use the sword just to gain momentum, the Eaqer's Edge. Now I don't have a lot of ammo because I forgot to switch the weapon early when taking down the fallen ads to the puzzle. But it doesn't really matter so much as long as I have some ammo to at least gain some momentum at the maze. And at the other jumping puzzles, I'm good to go. I am using Stompies to jump a little bit at the ceiling to gain momentum. Kind of like a mini Warlock mini jump, kinda. So we're gonna go to the shortcut here. Since we got the switch, the 2 switches, we're not gonna see Trevor, so make sure you go from the right side and turn left and then turn to the right to get the other switch. Then you just pull back and then get the other switch from the right side. Now, funny story, for this one is Arc. I was just looking at my phone so I can remember the puzzle for Arc. But I gotta be honest, the Arc floor puzzle is the easiest than Solar and Void. It's just my opinion. But anyway, we're gonna be escaping Trevor. So too bad, Trevor. No hugs for you. And there is an elevator, but who needs that? We got Stompies. So I'm just gonna do the skip. We're just gonna use Stompies and skips. I like to just jump, forward, back, jump, forward, back, jump, forward, back, jump, forward. And then over here I kind of messed up. Make sure you are near the left side. So my bad for that. That was my mistake. Make sure you jump near the left instead of the middle on the last jump. My mistake there, by the way. Usually that works more than trying to jump from the middle to go to the middle platform. So now we're going to go to the floor puzzles. So if anyone knows, each day it resets the puzzle. So I'm just going to put a screen on the Arc puzzle and you could just screenshot it. So for the Arc puzzle, like I said, it's the easiest. And I was just looking at my phone. So note to self, make sure you print the puzzle so the phone doesn't auto turn off. Even though I put never on my iPhone screen, when it hits the yellow bar, right, it just turns up by itself, even though I told it not to turn it off. Yeah, I know, pretty sad. So make sure you just print it or draw it. It's way more easier because there'll be moments where the phone will just turn up by itself and say, okay, screw you, Guardian. Alright, so now I'm going to switch to my DPS loadout. And we're going to be using Dragon's Breath. We're going to use the Kindness Sidearm and Mountaintop. So I am going to clear a couple of ads. I'm going to use Blade Barrage. You can also use Golden Gun. Highly recommend to try out Golden Gun if Blade Barrage is not for you. But I'll be really honest with you. Blade Barrage was not really working too much for me. But I want to try something different, and this is what happens when I try something different. So now I'm going to just spam Mountaintop. I'm going to pull back. We got the boss from the left side. He's very upset. He's not happy. He's in a bad mood. We're going to ignore him a bit. We're going to ignore the ads as well, since it is a bit infinite. So I'm not going to focus too much unless I want to farm some heavy, but since we rally a flag, we don't really need to farm so much. So now I'm going to go to this itty bitty safe spot because I don't want to deal with the Shank shooting me with the flinch of console nightmare. So we're going to throw a knife. Hello, Dragon's Breath. I'm going to run for my life. I'm going to go to this mini hiding spot once the boss spawns. And it spawns these servitors. I'm going to use Dragon's Breath. I'm also going to jump on top of this platform. Well, and then just spam it until the boss just goes away, because I don't want hugs. Alright, Trevor tried to hug me, it didn't work out. I don't want the boss to hug me. Alright, I'm not a hugger. So I'm gonna Dragon's Breath and then Blade Barrage. Highly recommend to just Blade Barrage the boss at the when it teleports the third. Now I know someone's gonna say, why not just Blade Barrage at the middle? Well, see, I didn't clear the ads, all the ads. Now, if I did clear all the ads, then yes, Blade Barrage, go all crazy hunter, alright? Go dance to Blade Barrage at the front, middle, at the boss. But because I didn't clear down the ads, it really is not necessary so much. We want to just focus on the boss. I decided to Blade Barrage from the right side and then just use a kinetic or mountaintop. So now we're going to spawn the 2 walkers. We're going to use a rocket. And I did kind of mess up my rocket. Usually you can one-shot them with Dragon's Breath. But unfortunately it didn't work out so much. I had to use 4 rockets. So my bad for that. What I should have done is just mix it with mountaintop and a rocket. So that way I can somehow one-shot the walkers. So that was just my mistake. I wanted to save the mountaintop to deal with the servitor and the brig. All that goody stuff. But unfortunately I had to use 2 Dragon's Breath. Now we're going to spawn the final boss very soon. And yes, this is a perfect time to push and then use your golden gun. But unfortunately for me, there is still a lot of ads I did not take down. I couldn't use my Blade Barrage, unfortunately. So I'm going to be saving it and probably just use the clear ads or something. Or at least do some damage to the boss. Because if I do pass the crates, then I'm going to have snipers spamming the arc and they could take me down. So we're going to go just slowly go side to side from the right, slowly to the left. And if you do see these annoying fallens trying to shoot solar at you, just switch to your mountaintop or switch to your sidearm to take them down. So now I'm just going back and forth trying to focus on this servitor. I mean, he's almost down. Alright. Finally, this servitor is down. Very annoying, by the way. Now we can use our super, anything you want. And yes, my Blade Barrage was really bad. But hey, it doesn't really matter so much. At least I cleared somewhat, or I did some tiny itty bitty damage. But yeah, that's the one thing. That's the cons of Blade Barrage. You have to really get close to the boss, to the brig, to do Blade Barrage. But the problem is there's a lot of ads, and yes, you could use restoration, all that goody stuff, but it's just too risky. Unless you don't really care about solo flawless, you just want the solo done, then by all means go for it. But for me, for this run, I care about solo flawless. And I want to be a little cautious of using Blade Barrage, which is why I highly recommend if you want more of a long distance, then Golden Gun will be just for you. Now I am using the sidearm since I ran at a mountaintop. You can also switch to a kinetic tremors scout rifle to do damage to the Brig. Now I was about to do that. I decided to just use the sidearm. And just always remember, move side to side, left and right. And I did saw the boss went on his psychopathic mode. And this is when I used the Polaris Lance. And yes, I did use Polaris Lance for this run because I don't have Dragon's Breath. And pretty much I don't have a lot of things. I don't really have a lot of options over here. So I will switch to Polaris Lance just to do enough DPS to take down this Brig because I need to clear all these ads. Now in the old 0-hour version, I don't remember. I had to rewatch it again. But I remember when you did have to kill the boss, not the Brig, they just added that. All the ads despawn, right? And then you just complete it. Now for this version, they added a Brig. Now you have to clear all these ads. And then the weirdest thing is you don't even kill the boss. He has like a little bit tiny bit of health and then he just runs away. That's it. Done. But as you guys know, yes, you do see him escape with tiny itty bitty health. But I swear to the bungee, I remember we defeated him and then he gained a little bit of health and then escaped. So now we're going to just use the Monarque because I don't have any good weapons to clear down these ads. Now I actually forgot that I had the solar machine gun. So if you do have ammo for the machine gun, highly recommend to just use the machine gun instead of Le Monarque. Le Monarque is a little slow, but at the same time it gives you health when you do take down the vandals, all these shanks, all these ads. So we're at 15 seconds, and I'm just gonna panic and Blade Barrage just to take down all these shanks. And then we finally made it. And then the boss can escape. I didn't want hugs. Alright, I didn't want hugs. It offered, I declined. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.